So today we're going to do a review of an article I found called An Innovative Way of Designing Blended Learning Through Design-Based Research in Higher Education. Hi everyone, I'm Kris Watterson. I'm a professional graphic designer and an instructional design graduate student at ESU. So to give you a little bit of a background about this article, it's trying to discover the best practices in converting face-to-face learning to blended learning, which is a combination of online and face-to-face instruction. This is a design-based research study that really takes an iterative approach, and it goes through 3 iterations of creating this design for a blended learning situation. It also includes mixed methods of data collection, which would be observation, interviews, and surveys. The importance of this study is, first of all, does anybody remember 2020? It was kind of a blur for myself, but 2020 showed a really huge need for being able to be flexible in education because face-to-face is not always possible. And online learning is not always as effective as it could be. We're all in an online class, and I think that we're probably all, because we're graduate students, I'm making assumptions here, but we're probably all pretty motivated and able to kind of self-pace and do the online learning, but not everyone's able to do that. So they're trying to take the best parts of online learning and the best parts of face-to-face learning and put it together to a happy medium, which is going to be the blended learning approach. So what is blended learning? Well, as I previously briefly mentioned, a widely accepted definition of blended learning is the combination of face-to-face and online learning. However, this study defines blended learning as thoughtfully and vigilantly integrating the best features of face-to-face learning and the best features of online learning. In reviewing the literature, the current understanding is that online learning is not perfect. So without face-to-face interaction, some weaker students can fail in online learning. And as I mentioned before, that has to do with self-motivation or being able to understand the content, or perhaps, maybe they don't understand, but they can't really connect with the instructor and they're not able to get that personalized interaction. So face-to-face and traditional learning still has a place in education. Blended learning has many advantages that have been shown to be effective in teaching even varied disciplines. Blended learning can offer the best of face-to-face and online learning, and it has increased in popularity. Like I said, does anybody remember 2020? I don't, just kidding. Students can also study at their own pace and still receive individual instruction from their educator, and that is a huge benefit in blended learning. Some knowledge gaps that we have is that blended learning still has challenges. Sometimes it can be a challenge to accommodate the learning process and still allow for flexibility. Sometimes it has to do with building effective learning culture and, students interacting with other students or even with the instructor. Consolidating online learning and face-to-face is a complex process, and educators need to know which tools to use and how to effectively use them in order to have a successful blended learning environment. It could take time for educators to test out a variety of options or to even find which tool is best for what they're trying to do. It's not a straight conversion from, okay, in face-to-face we do this thing, and then therefore in online learning we would do it this way, and there you have blended learning. So another situation is that there's actually limitless possibilities because we have the internet and all these amazing technological tools. Sometimes it can be a challenge for educators to design an effective blended learning course without getting overwhelmed or getting really bogged down trying to find those right tools or figure out how to even get it to do the thing that they want it to do. Educators also need support from their institution and sometimes even additional training. Here are the research questions that they attempted to answer in this study. Number 1 is, what practices are associated with making a blended learning course effective and efficient? Number 2 is, what are the educators' perceptions about their first experience of teaching a blended learning course? And number 3, does the iterative process of this design-based research study improve the effectiveness and efficiency of a blended learning course throughout the semester? Here's the reference for the article. I hope you enjoyed this brief overview. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks for joining me.